Can you tell from this point, guys, I am not even happy at this point today, but either way, I apologize for my commentary is a little bit too iffy at points, because I'll discuss more about it whenever we're able to get on with this video, which I'm sure most people already know about this, but we'll discuss that anyway after this intro's been done. Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Piglet here once again, and I am back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more of Let's Play of Yoshi's Crafted World for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time we have managed to able to conclude every single of those smiley flowers in Sky High Heights. In addition with that, we also managed to explore those two levels in Acorn Forest, and managed to gather all these, regular smiley flowers on the front side of that these two levels right here. So, like, for instance, we explored through weighing acorns and also jumping to victory levels. So, yeah, today for this episode is the fact that not only do we need to able to continue exploring through, for the entirety of the Acorn Forest, but also that we might actually go ahead and say this right now, that we might actually get ourselves our next dream gem. So hopefully we would be able to actually just to gather that, especially noticeable about the fact that we're almost nearly towards the end of this particular world so far. So either way, yeah, let's get to it. As you can see, that we are still going to be carrying things on the souvenir hunting at this point, which this time we need to find that particular sculpture that is going to be somewhere near the end of the entire level. So thankfully for me, I don't have to worry about the forms of likely trying to find those smiley flowers, especially with those red coins, and I'm almost gonna get myself a first game over actually. But either way though, hopefully we would restore our more health by simply bypassing for that specific checkpoint, so that way it will make it a little bit obvious for that specific solution here. So yeah, how's anyone doing? Because basically, that according to the forms of this uploading schedule for this point today, today's day is the forms of the 12th of March today in 2020, so there's not much else we can able to speak of apart from the fact that we have managed to able to almost got to the point until likely at the halfway point of March, but either way though, that's besides the point. So here's the bad news about the forms of today actually, especially noticeable for yesterday. Now I'm sure most people already know what I'm going to talk about that. Unfortunately though, and I'm pretty sad to tell you for this point, there is no E3 2020 announcements for the sake of time. Rather than why? Probably because of, that again, the coronavirus has been taken over, and I was like, this is really ticking me off. Especially how we got other games coming up for it, like, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, and even Bayonetta 3, and even Metroid Prime 4 will be on its way onto the Nintendo Switch in general. And as a result of that specific stuff, well, unfortunately for the sake of time, we're probably not going to discuss upon E3 stuff anymore, which is really sucks, especially noticeable how the fact that usually in, ever since in last year, that, since then, that I'm presuming that Sonic and Pinkie Pie has mentioned about more stuff about the forms of E3 last year, and same applies to Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360 version for DLC stages that definitely has already mentioned about these kinds of stuff in E3 stuff. I don't know about the 2017 however though, especially with 2016, but then again though, most notably because of how the fact that I haven't really rewatched some of these previous videos from the past, especially noticeable because we are most likely focusing on the current year rather than just on the previous years, but that's besides the point. So yeah, I'm very ticked off about the forms of how the fact that that particular E3 stuff has been officially cancelled, probably because I'm still gonna blame on that stupid coronavirus effect. But even then, I'm really sorry for my moodiness has actually gone really terrible. Luckily though, the only good thing about that though is the fact that we actually get ourselves, well, according to reports, especially some rumors and stuff like that, I'm not sure if it's possible or not, but we might actually get ourselves 2 directs in during March. One by the forms of the ND World, which sure enough it will still return, And another one, which is going to be, what I'm really hoping for, is the general Nintendo Direct, which even then, because it's almost like, I don't know how many days that we haven't got a single general direct for this year so far, in terms of days count, but we'll point it out at some point whenever we're able to, just trying to able to actually just to consider that. So either way though, especially how that Sonic and me are about to be going on to the forms of, well, Sonic is still carry on doing Super Mario Sunshine at the moment, and for me, I'm going to be still carry on doing the forms of this game. So, especially it really helps about the fact that with the actual, the daily uploading schedules by this point, probably because of how the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking about the fact that we could able to get these Let's Plays finished before we move on to the next set of Let's Plays in the future, specifically, you know, with the next installment of the Mario Kart game, and especially notable with the, of course, I would classify for saying the next redo Let's Play after finishing Super Mario Sunshine almost, and especially notable with the forms of another new Let's Play-ish or something like that, but then again, we'll definitely see what happens there until whenever we get on to April, but then again, I'm not gonna discuss on this too much, probably because of how the fact that, well, we're just a little bit too early when it comes to the forms of some other things to discuss. So either way, that's, yeah, according to the actual reports and stuff like that, with the rumors and stuff, that, at least expect we were hoping to able to get ourselves the proper, general Nintendo Direct at some point in March. I think it did say, March 26th, which is going to be on Thursday, because as you already know, the official Nintendo Direct's announcements are now going to be able to be focusing on Thursdays as opposed to Wednesdays, unlike last year. So even then, it makes it a little bit obvious for that specific pattern. I don't know if they actually did that in during the forms of 2016 on Thursday's department, especially with 2014 or something like that. Then again, I've already rewatched some of those previous Nintendo Directs in the past, so that I can able to actually look upon what specific days they did manage to able to upload those kinds of stuff. So even then, probably because I was more into the forms of the new ones, basically. So even then, I can assure you for that at this point in time is the fact that E3 2020 is going to be pretty much bare bones at this point right now. Most notably because of the actual stupid coronavirus effect. And especially it really doesn't help about the fact that, well, it's got the Mario Party 10 bare bones content syndrome, because basically most people were excited about the forms of this year's E3, but it turns out it's gonna be a little bit more lackluster because of that stupid coronavirus thing, and because as a result, just like the forms of how it does it on Mario Party 10 Amiibo Party, where the Amiibo Party mode is the fact that it plays out exactly like the classic Mario Party, but in some sort of like a scale down when it comes to likely for the board themes and as well as some features and all that stuff. Yeah, it does remind me of that. So speaking of Mario Party 10 actually, that next week in the forms of the English version, and especially tomorrow in Japan, that Mario Party 10 will be out, or it's become 5 years old in Japan. So even then though, I was expecting to see how that turns out, because at least particularly for Mario Party 10 did mostly came out in Japan first, which is a little bit weird, because unlike the forms of the previous, well, at least specifically Mario Party 9 and Mario Party Island Tour, that, well, Mario Party 9 did only came out in European first, and then Island Tour came out in American first, and especially noticeable later on in Star Rush did manage to came out in Europe first, just like Mario Party 9, and also Mario Party The Top 100 came out on the American first, just like Mario Party Island Tour, and recently across the whole entire world, that we get ourselves the actual release for Super Mario Party. So yeah, that's pretty compliments to say that much, especially how the fact that there I was trying to point things out with several regional differences when it comes to release dates and stuff like that for that nature. But yeah, that's how it goes basically. So anyway, yeah, aside from all that stuff though, I'm just getting pretty ticked off at this point. In fact, whenever we get to the very end of that specific 2020 year, I think we should probably get ourselves a big discussion about the forms of my the actual Direct's ranking system, because we didn't normally do that in the previous years, probably because of how the fact that I don't want to able to be too crucial about that specific system. But as far as at this point right about now, I think I'm actually going to be able to actually just, well, it's not going to happen until specifically in New Year's Eve in 2020, imagine that. Now I think until whenever we do like a long part Let's Play of some sort of, that we can able to discuss upon new forms of the actual rankings of the Nintendo Direct during 2020 for that regard, including the, well, the most disappointing aspect of for this year so far, it was actually the absence of the E3 2020. But at least I'll give 2016 some credit for E3. At least they did actually offer something, like, you know, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild revealed, as well as some several 3DS announcements, like, you know, Mario Party Star Rush, and especially noticeable with, other game titles as well, which I can't think of from the top of my head. But aside from all that stuff, though, we are basically getting nothing. I don't know about you guys, but even then, I'm just getting super paranoid at this point, which is a shame, because we're actually on the 10th year for Nintendo Directs and stuff like that, ever since when it first started, well, back when it first started, back in during the forms of 2011, but usually in the later years, specifically 2011 all the way up to 2018, at least we got some exciting stuff, specifically Super Smash Bros. Ultimate revealed, and especially noticeable with Super Mario Party has been announced in E3 in 2018, along with, of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as well. But even then, though, aside from that, ever since in 2019, I will still say about the fact that E3 2019 might be the black sheep when it comes to the forms of Nintendo Directs, in my opinion. Probably because of how the fact that, well, at least it has some redeemable value to it. Like, for instance, the announcements of, you know, Link's Awakening remake, as well as Super Mario Maker 2 that most people seem to be happy about, and especially noticeable with Luigi's Mansion 3, and of course this game here, and also the next Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, that we haven't got the next Olympic Games since Rio 2016, despite Rio 2016's disappointing and stuff, which I honestly, God forbid, trying to agree to that, because, well, despite, I will still say that Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games for Mario and Sonic is actually slightly better than the forms of how it does it on Rio 2016 installment, I just realized. But aside from that, though, it doesn't even compare to the forms of how it does it on the most amazing nostalgia, at least for my life, ever since in Vancouver 2010 installment, as well as, you know, the London 2012. I mean, those two games are considerably a replayability, despite with, well, the lack of single-player experience mode in, during forms of, the London 2012. But aside from that, though, you should definitely still recommend Vancouver 2010, as well as London 2012, if you get a chance to get around on that specific stuff. In fact, it might actually be pretty cheap right now for the actual price at this point, compared to the forms of a full price for the Wii U installments, probably because the Wii U selling points didn't sell that well in the end, though, especially because of how the fact that they're just practically moving on to, you know, the most current console of gaming console of that specific stuff, which is of course Nintendo Switch, of course, and usually, relatively speaking, Nintendo Switch is doing super well when it comes to selling points and like. So even then, though, at least I appreciate about that specific matter, though. So, but you know, you get the idea for that solution right here. So anyways, let's go ahead and get ourselves the next Poochie Pup right here, and just go across the actual specific section like so. Yeah, until when the next Nintendo Direct will be revealed, then I will be pretty much hyped about that. Specifically when it gets to 26th of March. And I'm really hoping that will be true because, well, as far as you guys already know about this for the sake of time, but we're gonna say this again, that usually in the past few days, that we actually being slightly rusty when it comes to likely just trying to discuss upon announcements or something like that. But However though, there's another thing I'd like to discuss upon too, and that was the fact that yes, you remember with the forms of Nintendo Switch Lite's coral pink color was already getting its way onto the actual Japan's release on the same day as Animal Crossing New Horizons, and also during the forms of North America, it was about to be releasing on sometime in the beginning of April. Now, in Europe, we actually finally got the release date for the coral pink color for the Nintendo Switch Lite, which is going to be releasing until the April the 24th specifically, so even then though, it will be pretty great, especially because of how the fact that most other UK girls out there were able to finally get a chance to experience their own Nintendo Switch within a pink color. Well, technically if you want to count the normal Nintendo Switch by simply trying to adjust the actual switchable Joy-Con controllers to make it a little bit more pure pink for those both Joy-Con controllers, but usually it might be pretty pricey still because of the forms of the actual features and stuff. So if you hit that party ball right there, then basically it'll give us the Poochie Pup, of course. So yeah, I think relatively speaking is the fact that we're pretty much almost nearly towards the end of Acorn Forest, as you can clearly tell. Probably because of how the fact that we're actually going back onto just only 2 levels worlds. So even then though, because it makes it pretty obvious, because, well, I think seemingly to say after this, as I said this before since the very beginning of this particular part, that we might actually get ourselves our next Dream Gem, which this time around we're going to be going after is the red one. So even then, could be a possibility about the fact that we might actually come across into our next true boss fight. So I think that will be mainly the case. So even then though, let's go ahead and ignore this particular part right here, so that way we need to be super precise with. So yeah, at this point in time, until likely in next month or something like that, specifically on April, that we can finally get a chance to able to get ourselves 4 different colors of the Nintendo Switch Lite now. So even then, it's pretty cool though. So I don't know what's the next. Oh, there's Pac-Man's graffiti right there. I did not notice for that specific reference. But anyway. So yeah, I don't know what's the next color after coral pink, but then again though, we'll see what happens there. Especially noticeable how the fact that, well, at this point in time, I'm still not exactly that happy at the moment when it comes to likely with the E3 announcements and stuff. Mind you, we did have plenty of those E3 announcements from the past, specifically the ones in, you know, ever since likely, well, it doesn't count on E3 2011 because it's more likely a press conference and stuff, but ever since in 2012, if I recall, as well, usually in 2012 still has the press conference and stuff, but at least in 2013 all the way up to 2019, at least we got some unique announcements in particular. So even then though, because as a result, that I'm still managed able to become hyped about it, especially specifically the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC fighter. So apparently though, I don't know if it might be necessarily true, but I'm really hoping that we can able to actually get us something and during at the very end of you know, by the end of March month, where it comes to likely having ourselves the first fighter revealed for the DLC pack 2. In fact, I don't know if that's gonna be the final pack specifically though, for it comes to the actual thing itself, but then again though, we have to wait and see what happens there. Specifically, whenever we're able to actually discuss upon to new stuff right here. So, okay, let's see if we can able to get that pink Poochie Pup right here. In fact, we can do this here? Oh, of course we can. That took quite a while to able to actually get that specific Poochie Pup right there, and I can assure you the actual time challenge on this, we need to aim for about 4 minutes, so hopefully we've got enough time. We've only got about 30 seconds to make our way towards the end, so I'm really hoping we would make it in time. So, do we make it in time at least? Well, after bypassing a lot of those obstacles, including finding the final blue mushroom right here. So that'll be, I don't know if this might be the last souvenir hunting on this world, so I'm really hoping that'll be the case, because even then, if we actually, yet again, if we're actually missing the last one of those souvenir huntings and stuff, then I will be pretty gonna be ticking off from that, so. But there we go, at least we did manage to able to actually accomplish that specific challenge, as you can see. In addition with that, we also managed to able to find every single of those blue mushrooms. So I'm quite surprised about the fact that this world might be slightly shorter, but still, it's all depending on the forms of how the fact that if you try to find those souvenir huntings and stuff, or even some souvenir items and stuff, so. But there we go, we've managed to able to gather all these smiley flowers on Acorn Forest. But then again, that doesn't end off here, because as I stated for this before, first off, let's go ahead and grind for some more costumes in that specific capsule machine first, before we deal on with the forms of trying to receive the second dream gem, and then hopefully we would able to actually come across into the next boss fight and beyond. So I think we might as well do a boss fight at the end, so just in case we can able to actually get enough time to end off at that point. So anyway, we got the yellow apple, and we got the tree stump, and also we've got ourselves the blueberry jam, and also the blue party ball, and we got the red push cart, and the silver bucket, and the rarest one of them all is Spike the piranha? Huh. And the simple bus, and the red apple, and finally the acorn owl. So yeah, I guess that makes it obvious, but seriously, that Spike the piranha? Huh, I never thought about the actual specific name. At first I thought it was usually in the previous Yoshi games, they always called that particular piranha novel piranha ever since in, well, I would say in Yoshi's Woolly World, but apparently in this game in particular, well, we'll explain more about him whenever we dive right into the actual, this particular part of the actual world map, which, as you can see, we need to give him about 15 of those smiley flowers and here and now, and just like the forms of, the ones we've already done the first boss fight, ever since, like, we did manage to face off against with, Tin Can Condor. Basically, this particular guy was actually incredibly, like bigger than the others. So, well, for some exceptions, but even then, although I really do apologize if my dialogue has actually gone really corny right here for this point, guys, because then again, I'll already explain more on that specific stuff. And yes, truth be told, here's the next boss fight right here, so I wonder what that could be, but I'm pretty sure it's likely a piranha plant based, so I don't know what that specific boss will be named for. But first off, cutscenes, of course. There's more than meets the eye with this party ball. Maybe it's got a bunch of gems inside. I'm gonna bust it open and see. I need something to throw at it. Your awfulness, please wait! So you can have two different options, you can either break it or leave it be. Let's go and break it. Wah! Yoshi broke open the ball himself! Yoshi, I have you know his grossness was looking forward to breaking that ball. Gah, you're gonna get smashed. My piranha plant will gobble you up and show you what's what. So in this case, we have ourselves another transformation for that specific sequence this time. And it's gonna use that opened up party ball to make it reveal to be as, well, after opening that party ball, it turns out it was actually a whole bunch of acorns and just all kinds of stuff. So even then, there's no gems to be around in sight, so... But anyways, let's just see what this boss's name was. Spike the Piranha. Oh, that probably explains about the fact that we got a costume based off from him. So basically, think of like the novel Piranha from Yoshi's Woolly World, except the fact that the biggest difference is here. To deal enough damage on him, however, though, after when he does this, be sure to aim on that specific spike ball, because if you try to aim it for the spike ball, not only does it able to drop onto specific spots, but if you drop it, if you try to let the spike ball drop onto the actual spike, the piranha's head, basically it deals the damage on his head. So that way, that's the entire purpose of this boss fight in particular, so even then, there's not much else to it. But the noticeable differences between this and the likes of how it does on Yoshi's Woolly World this time is the fact that the actual environment itself is actually, well, takes place in some sort of like a forest, rather than just onto the actual pipe sewers and stuff, which, unlike Yoshi's Woolly World, does manage to take place in some sort of like a water world, so... But anyways, let's see if we could... I'm doing so badly on this. And I think later on, whenever we go back onto those boss fights, however though, that then again, we'll explain more about it whenever we're able to, trying to able to complete the main story first before you're able to take on new forms of extra stuff, so... Fair enough, we'll see what happens there, and I keep on getting hit a lot, as you can see right there, probably because I wasn't paying attention. But anyways, let's try and aim it from here, and there goes the second hit. Now we need to aim for the third and the final hit, so to be expected it makes things a little bit trickier for ourselves. So hopefully things won't be too hard as of late, but then again though, whenever we get onto the later portion of this Let's Play, then again we'll discuss more about it until like any moment or two, so... But you know, that's how it goes basically for this entire boss fight, as you can see right there. So yeah, you're just gonna have to aim at the actual spike ball itself. So hopefully this will make a hit. No! Why did I just miss that? And there we go. Whew. A little bit tricky, but hey, at least it doesn't usually break the actual harder challenge or anything like that. So as long as you need to be super accurate with the actual egg tossing aiming sensor kind of stuff. Okay, so it turns out that particular party ball on the ground does manage to contain, of course, the Dream Gem itself, which we've got the second Dream Gem. So only 3 more left to go until the actual Dream Stone will be completely restored. So the only ones are left, which are the pink and also the yellow one, and finally, of course, the green color, which even then, I wonder where the green one might will be at, but then again, we'll discuss more about it whenever we hit back onto the world map itself. And of course, as you can see, it actually restores the red part of that specific stuff, and I do apologize for that specific graphical glitch right there, probably because my capture card seems to have a couple of bugs or glitches sometimes, but even then, no, it still works, but I need to rework on that, so just in case it doesn't go completely glitched out with the actual capture footage and stuff. So I do apologize for that, folks. But anyways, the Acorn Forest portion is entirely done, so even then, no, now we need to hit on to the next world. I think we should probably do the next world down right here, right next to Paste Your Pathway, and as you can tell, the music is now altered into the third iteration of that specific world map, so even then though, everything else to be expected. So let's give 10 smiley flowers to this guy, and hopefully we will able to come across into this next world, which appears to be Cardstock Carnival, which as far as I can tell for that specific tent and stuff like that, as soon as when it opens up, it turns out it was actually the carnival itself. So welcome to Cardstock Carnival. So I guess we'll end things off here for this point, guys. So join me next time on Let's Play Yoshi's Crafted World. It's the fact that we're going to start things off with the new world in this game, Cardstock Carnival, and to begin with that world, we're going to be exploring through Spin Wheel Shuffle. So this will be a little bit funner. It always kind of reminds me of Pac-Man World for some reason. But anyway, see you guys on Sunday.